couldn't get this accident out of my head for a very, very long time. I kept dreaming about it, just focusing on it, what I could have done differently, what if, what if this, what if that. And it became all-consuming. Not to mention the fact that I was in constant pain, and I guess I had a lot of remorse and regret, and I didn't want to be around people. And for me, I didn't have any coping skills. I was never taught how to deal with real life or real life terms without using alcohol. Or, if you want to get over somebody, be deceitful. That's all I knew, right?
Yeah.
So my go-to was the alcohol. But guess what? The nightmares were still there. The regret, the people get too close to me, I push them away,
Yeah, that's a common thing for any trauma, especially what you went through in childhood, is not knowing who to trust.
Exactly.
Groundbreaking, ground foundation of trust that people normally have with each other until someone breaks it was fractured.
So as I had the wrist surgery, I had a cast on my arm, and I ran into this girl in this high school that I always had a crush on, and she liked me, and we started talking, we were dating a little bit, but she got too close, and I just shut her down, I just did. With everything going on in my life, and it's just, I would hear or see something that would set me off,
Mm-hmm.
And like my brother Greg said, I would have kind of like flashbacks almost of things that happened in my childhood, as well as losing my buddy. It was really, really strange. So I got through that.
Because it's a lot of stuff, one thing after the next, and very, very graphic stuff. Is Greg still with us?
Greg?
That's what I thought. But anyway, Joe, it's time for our second break. But when we get back, I want to talk about some of the symptoms of post-traumatic stress and complex PTSD and things that you might want to look for if maybe you're recognizing some of these signs within yourself. And what to do, and if you're eligible for help, and all that stuff, warning signs to what to look for. And I want to welcome callers to call in, 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. And we will take our second break, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, and welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And what we're discussing is CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And most people are familiar with PTSD, an anxiety disorder that results from one traumatic event, which could be like a natural disaster, car accident, war, a lot of family trauma, things. However, a closely related condition called complex PTSD is more widely recognized by doctors in recent years, and it results from repeated trauma over months or years rather than a single event. And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Joe Potosi.
How are you doing?
You just like saying that to you. How you doing? But before you go into this, we have a caller. Valerie, on the line. Hi, Valerie. Welcome to Moments of Clarity. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Tiffany.
Hi.
Hey, Joe. And hello, everybody.
Hi,
I'm so touched by hello. I'm extremely overwhelmed with just so many emotions. I'm a survivor of well, they called it prolonged, but it's complex PTSD. I want to commend you both just for sharing your story. I've been in the mental health industry for a really long time. When I got in, I never thought that I was getting in because, I was messed up or my family was messed up. But it ended up being an industry that I love, and I just can't get over. I think it's amazing that y'all are sharing your story the way that you are. And I wanted to ask you a question as a survivor myself of abuse and domestic violence. And I feel like the walkout of coming out of so much trauma is a lifelong transformation for me. I'm at peace with that. And a lot of times others around us are so uncomfortable. They don't know what to say. And so they say things that they think are going to make us feel better. And it's actually something that's worse. And, what do you say and how do you respond? As a man, I never really imagined how much harder it is. Men are supposed to be tough. One of you is in the military and you're a cop. And so my question is, there has been numerous triggers in my life, even to this day, that I walk out of. And how do you explain to somebody when something happens and you have a trigger, and maybe you're around a bunch of men that, don't really talk about the things that are going on in their lives? What would you say to somebody that was listening right now that's a gentleman that's struggling and is afraid to speak out, for fear of whatever? I wasn't able to be on the first part of the show, so if you shared that, forgive me for, having you reiterate. But, what would you say to somebody? There's gentlemen in my life. We grew up in an abusive home, and, there's been a lot of healing since then, but it doesn't come overnight. It's not something that you can snap your fingers and say, oh, my gosh, I'm never going to have a trigger again, or, I'm never going to have a response physically, physiologically or emotionally. What would you say to a man that's listening about how you came out and got healthy? Because you guys are just a dynamic duo. I commend you both for sharing your story. It touches me so much. I was in tears earlier and try not to cry, but I just wanted to ask you, what would you say to somebody that was listening right now that really, really wants to talk about it and they just can't?
That's a very good question, and thank you for calling in. And I appreciate you, Valerie. What I would say, and this is just how I feel, let's say we're at a Super Bowl party, right? And there's alcohol and there's other things going on. And
hang on one second, Joe. I want to welcome your brother back. We've got him back, and I know that Valerie's questions were kind of geared towards him too. Welcome back, Greg. Thanks for calling back.
Hey, thank you, Tiffany.
Hey,
Greg.
Yeah. So we had lost him, and Valerie, you were asking some questions kind of geared towards both of them. But all right, so go on, Joe. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. What I would tell this friend, whether he was a friend or not, he's a fellow human being, right? And I want to see people be successful and to be healthy. I would just encourage him to, the way I would put it is, do you, man. Take care of yourself first. There's no reason to apologize, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. And, if you can find someone to talk about this, initially maybe it's a friend or a family member, and just kind of get it off your chest, get it out in the open. But, look into counseling, or if you happen to go to a church, your pastor, and get the help that you need. But like you said before, Valerie, a lot of men are kind of too tough, or they don't like to talk, right?
Right.
And there's a man,
except for you guys.
I'm a well.
Hey,
Tiffany knows I'm a man of few words. She knows it.
Can't get him to shut up.
Kid, take a breath, Joe. Take a breath.
Well, we have that in common, don't we, Tiffany?
Yeah.
What can I jump in there?
Yes.
Go ahead. Great.
Joe, can I back you up for a minute?
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. Look, just like an idea doesn't exist, it's in the ether, and it becomes real when you write it down.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with these emotional issues and these problems, you can think about them and you can brood about them, you can feel depressed about them, but until you start talking and manifesting them in this reality, you're not going to be able to deal with them, in my humble opinion. You have to
Exactly.
take it to the next level. Come on, Tiffany, can I ring that bell, baby?
You have to say moments of clarity, but yes, exactly.
Yes.
Moments of clarity.
Greg catches on pretty quick.
I swear this is about some behavior modification that you're doing.
I'm doing classical conditioning. Everyone wants to say
you
moments
go.
of clarity,
Pavlov's
and I
method,
get the bell. Are you guys all salivating, drooling? I should feed a snack.
Yeah, I actually am right now.
So you know what else, Valerie? I mean,
excuse me.
A lot of times if someone's going through something, like say they have cancer, maybe I can't relate to that situation, but I can be there for them. Maybe someone is suffering with PTSD and they don't know the first steps or whatever. To be there for them and to be a sounding board to show you support, is huge too, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you have a family member and you think, oh, he's just weird, or she's just weird. I can't deal with her. I can't deal with him. Because you don't give them a chance. Because you have your agenda, and it's all about you. We need to make ourselves available.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Joe?
That was huge for me. It was very important to be able to do that. And, getting kind of on the lines of abuse, I had several people throughout my life say, why didn't you say anything? Mm-hmm. Why didn't you? And I said, well, I was 5 when it started. I mean, what 5-year-old that that can, as an adult, we have problems communicating. I'm not, I'd like to think that I talk a lot, but I'm not the best communicator in the world. And that's my job. Mm-hmm. So, there's a gentleman that I know, he had a friend who committed suicide, and he started a movement. It's called It Ain't Weak to Speak, and it's specifically for men. So, again, just listening to y'all's story and how you talk about it is just, it's healing to hear.
Yes.
Because of people around me that I know, that several that did get help and others that are still suffering, that, I was raised in a very, my father's Marine, very old school Hispanic. So we didn't really talk a lot, and it's come a long way with healing with my parents, but that we have, our family is very enmeshed. We don't talk a lot about things, and we handle things with food and alcohol and sarcasm, and so a lot of times nobody ever really gets to the core or the root issue of what's really going on. Mm-hmm. And I know how hard it was for me to walk out and to say in the industry that I was in, oh my gosh, I'm an alcoholic, and to announce it to the world. But I commend y'all. Part of my healing was sharing my story. It has been talking about it, and really, I say that my I give a shit meter broke. God forgive me for cussing on the radio, but it was just, you just have to get to that point where when you talk, it doesn't matter. You're going to share your story. Somebody's going to be touched by that, and so I appreciate y'all sharing that. It touched me. I'm walking out my own transformation and walking through PTSD and the triggers, and so. Not enough men are talking about it. So again, if I could ring the bell right now, I would ring it.
Amen.
Not enough men are talking, but yeah, they could. So it's not weak to speak. Is that what the movement?
It ain't weak to speak.
It ain't weak to speak. And so, a lot of, and I've learned through just doing the show, a lot of men are standing up and speaking out. And like my friend Brian Cardoza, our friend Joe, Brian. And he's the unexpected victim. His book is all about that because he's a childhood abuse survivor, and big tough guy too. Just who would expect? I don't know what an abuse victim looks like, a quote unquote survivor or victim. I don't know. It's. You just that's what I say at the end of every show. Be kind to yourself, especially a stranger. You never know what they're going through. We can't judge books by their cover. You never know. Some people that look like they have it all together, they don't. and some people that look very happy are depressed, and we just have to